Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm very thrilled to be here one more time. Guys, don't forget, we are already on Spotify. This episode will be aired there tomorrow. If you are not a subscriber here, we have beef. So subscribe and like this episode. I'm here with Walace Esperidião, and we're going to have a chat about Canada and many other things. You love him. We're going to start this right after our podcast intro. Hello, Wallace. Welcome, man. How are you?
Hello, think I'm fine, pretty fine. How about you?
Me too, man. I'm very happy because we haven't even started the podcast and I already introduced you to some delicious food that I haven't eaten yet. But I have something for you guys in the chat. Have you ever eaten? I think the correct pronunciation is Nanaimo bars. I saw in a video about Canadian food and I was very interesting. And Wallace haven't tried yet, but you will, right?
Yeah, it's on my list. And thank you for
Okay.
sharing with me. I haven't heard about it yet.
Man, I love sweets. So
Yeah, me
on the
too.
list, on that list that I saw in the video was the first one that I said, "Oh my God, we should have this in Brazil." I'll look for it. Wallace, before we start, please introduce yourself.
So I'm Wallace. I'm an IT business analyst. I'm 32 years old now. Living, I said, it's
Why
going
the
so
why the
fast.
why the face like 32 now?
It's going too fast,
Yeah,
but
it is.
I'm happy. I mean, I had a plan to be in Canada. I started this plan, I was 28, I think 27, 28. So I'm happy
Oh,
I'm here
nice,
now. So it's
nice.
good. It has been 3 years. I'm here in Montreal.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what else should I tell you about myself.
No, I already know where we could start. So you said that you had this plan when you were 28.
Yeah, it was, yes,
Okay, so
yes.
so was it very difficult and bureaucratic from during this time to go there? And
Yes.
because this is the question that a lot of people will be like, okay, one moment, I will be taking notes.
Please
Thi-
take
this is
notes.
this is the actor in me, I like to to do people.
No, that's a good question. Canada is very, I don't want to say difficult, but I have already said, it's not easy, I would say. It's not easy, but it works. That's the good
Mm,
thing. It can take time. You have a lot of bureaucracy, but if you follow the steps, if you provide information they are asking for, you're good to go. But it's not a lot of paper, a lot of documents. They want to know everything. I came as a student, so of course there are other possibilities, other paths. So the path I
mhm,
I chose was as a student because it was fast. It's supposed to be faster. So you can apply from Brazil and
mhm,
wait to get your PR, as we call permanent residency, but I wanted
mhm.
to be here fast. So as a student, it was the best option I found. So a
So
lot of paper.
you started planning when you were 28. So how long did it take for you to, okay, now I'm getting to the plane and going to Canada? Was like a 1 year, 2 year, months?
It was around 2 years, I would say, because
Mm,
I had a lot of decisions to make. I had to leave my job, and it was a big decision. And I needed like to save more money or to organize myself financially. I had my family depending on me financially as well. So I had to find where I want to go because I've always knew I wanted to go to live abroad, but Canada was not the first option. It was not like, oh, I always wanted to go to Canada. I wanted to leave Brazil. It sounds bad, but I wanted to
Ah,
live abroad, but
what a
I didn't know.
surprise! I understand you completely. You know?
Yeah. And then I Canada was the less expensive option actually.
Oh,
And
not interesting.
yes, and I mean I had a path because they need people here. So because they need people, there are a lot of programs you can take as a like worker, student. There are many programs like depending on the province you want to go or you are willing to go, they make it very easy for you because they really need people. So that's another hint, another trick. If you really want to leave Brazil, you can go to like Atlantic provinces. They have like easier programs because they are desperate for
Mm.
people, but it's very cold. I think we're going to talk about weather at some point,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, so Canada was the less expensive option I found. And then I came for 1 month first for an English program, business management program. And
Mm-hmm.
then I went to Toronto first. And then I said, okay, I'm coming back to Toronto because I knew Brazilian people there. I see it's possible. I've met people who live there. But
Ah,
then
nice.
yeah, that was something that brought me a lot of courage, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I met
Yeah,
people living
imagine.
there.
I imagine because it two things in common that my students, former students, the guests that we have here. One common element, they actually two. The two common elements they mention when they have this opportunity and they go is first they get really homesick. It's
Yeah.
like it sounds like a cliche. Yeah, I know. Like, oh, I had to leave Brazil to actually appreciate the things here that I love. But it's normally the same. They always say, oh, it's the food, the friends, and the parties go the whole night. No, I'm joking. That was one thing that you said. But yeah, they normally talk about food and the people they miss. And the second thing they say, Mike, it is very reassuring when you meet Brazilians living in the place and they say, oh, I've been here for 1 year, two
Yeah.
years. It's a great place. Or they already have like a family, kids, or they got
House
a
or
promotion. Exactly.
working. Yeah.
So I imagine it because in your head, I imagine you did like the, all right, so now what are the next steps?
It seems
And
impossible. So when you know people that have already done that. Okay, so it is possible because when you are dreaming alone, and that's the beauty
mhm.
of connecting to people and like reading about people and like it when you see people who achieved what you want, it gives you the okay, it is possible. If they made it, I can make it. So and you can exchange. So technology like internet gives you that gives that to us now. So you can have access to the steps that person followed. It's very rich. I love it. And I met very generous people in Toronto. I was like blessed to met that people. They shared all the process, what they did, what they do as like for work, what they eat, how much they pay. So all this
Nice.
information was amazing because I at least I had a realistic, standard to achieve. Okay, so I need
Mhm.
this amount of money, I need to find a college. The average amount is this because when you're looking for a school online, they are telling whatever they want. But if I already
Mhm.
know what someone else paid, it changes the game because no, I know this school is charging this amount.
Mm,
So
that's a very good hint, Wallace, because online, when you do like a Google search, you have a lot of sponsors links, and they will have maybe the standard value plus whatever profit the agency will have. If you already know someone, it's the famous mouth to mouth communication.
yeah,
Like, no, I have a friend, he's studying it, blah 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 blah, for blah 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 blah, can you cover it? And then you have at least a margin to negotiate.
exactly. And
Oh,
it's
nice.
sad, but As a company, and oh my gosh, I'm saying that, and it has been recorded. So I'm not any specialist. I'm just sharing my thoughts here. I hope it's a safe space,
It is, it
but
is. I say a lot of things, man, and we are still on, so don't worry.
but I guess companies they are targeting like some personas like as we
Mhm,
have customers, and then you can classify those customers in personas groups. So
mhm,
if I have an international website and I'm looking for international students, I can charge differently, because they are already outside. They are willing to pay whatever they have to pay to come inside. That's what I have
mhm.
in my mind. So
Yeah.
if I have someone here that actually knows the price they are charging here, it can make a difference. So
Mhm,
I feel I was blessed to have access to that information at that time, and it helped me to make my decision. But just to finalize this part of the decision of coming to Canada, I decided, okay, I'm
mhm.
going to Toronto. And then we had COVID, and it seemed to be
Oh,
impossible
man.
again. But I was so like motivated. I don't know where this motivation came from, but I had my plan. I was like, I've already agreed with my company. I was leaving, so everything was fine. They gave me a lot of support. I'm so grateful. I love that company. It was my first company, and then I know I'm here because the people there helped me. Like they supported me to be here,
Nice, that's nice.
and then I started. Okay, Toronto is impossible because it's too expensive now. And someone told me about Montreal. I've never heard about Montreal before that, you know? It was the first time I heard about Montreal. I don't know if you ever heard about Montreal. Like
Yeah, but when the first place that comes to mind is actually Toronto, and I
Vancouver.
remember, yeah, Vancouver, Quebec, but Quebec, I guess, is the French part, right?
Yeah, so Montreal is a city in Quebec. So I live in
Ah,
Quebec. Yeah.
nice. Oh,
Yeah.
so you are learning, I guess, or a little French too.
Oui, monsieur.
Oh man, je ne sais pas. That's the only French I can say. Oui, 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 soutien, bonjour, je ne sais pas. And that's it.
No, we actually, I mean, French went, so during pandemic, I made a decision, okay, Montreal is less expensive. And my strategy was not everyone is willing to learn French. So my competition is smaller. So,
Intelligent.
okay, COVID, I cannot go out, I cannot do anything. So I started studying French from Brazil online. And then it was the best decision I made because I arrived here with a little bit of French already. The government here, because they know it's clear for them, not everyone want to come here because of French. So they give you French classes for free, and they actually pay you to learn French. You can
Ah,
make up to $800 just because per month, just because you're studying French. The government is paying you. It's crazy for me, but
yeah, it is. No, but it's amazing because it's a whole matter of scarcity and opportunity. Like
yeah,
the the challenge for someone is actually the solution for somebody
an
else.
opportunity, exactly.
It's like what
That
we say here. You put together the hunger with the will to eat. You
yes,
know.
yes. I saw that as an opportunity for sure, and then I was excited about learning a third language. And it was great. I mean, I've been studying French for 4 years now, so I'm able to communicate. Life here is in French. I work in English,
Hmm.
but because I work for a global company, so English is the language. I was lucky, but I was really open to start to work in French, and I'm still am actually.
Yeah, but man,
But
that's amazing because you were raised speaking Portuguese,
yeah,
then you learned English, I imagine, for professional reasons. You were
yeah,
a student at times, by the way, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
You said that you remembered me. Did we have classes?
yes, sir.
Ah, nice. So you were a student at Times Cambui?
No, I was in Guanabara, but I don't remember why, but I took some classes there. I don't know. I don't know.
Ah,
I don't know if I don't know what happened, but I remember I had some those special classes over
mhm.
there with you guys. I think I was
Ah, now it makes sense because we used to do this presentially, right? We used to do
yes,
like an exchange program inside the schools. Like, oh, I'm going
yes.
to one times to teach a class, na na na. Then some teachers from, oh, we should do that again. It was nice.
And I
It
and
was
I
nice.
I think I did one advertisement with you. I think it was you. I'm not sure. I had my arm broken, and we were just recording a an advertisement video for times.
Man,
And
that's like this was like I guess 6 years ago, something like that,
long,
maybe.
long time ago.
Yeah, nice. And so I was mentioning that because how learning new language really opens other
Yeah.
realities for you because now you have the Portuguese background from Brazil, the English that you use to work every day. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of stimulus in your brain. And if you go to a market, you talk to someone on the street, you go to a party, you have to communicate in French, right?
Yes.
Man,
Exactly.
don't you get mixed in the language, like you use a word from?
Yeah, at the beginning it was very hard to manage,
Mhm.
but I think the because I wanted, because I was so like it was exciting for me somehow. So I
Mhm.
think this feeling, this motivation made it easier for me. I have some friends, Brazilian friends here, that they tell me it's I can't. It's too difficult. Like it's too stressful, and they have a natural block to
Mhm.
French. And I think it's harder when you don't want, or you're just studying because you have to, because your work
Mhm.
is requiring to. It's harder, but when you want, when you have any level of like, okay, I want it, it's nice. I think it helps. The same with English, I guess.
Mhm.
I always
Exactly.
liked to study English, and so it made the process easier for me, I guess.
I hope you had that impression when you studied here with us, man. But something that we tell the students is you have to make the whole process fun. So see
Yeah.
a language just as a tool to do something else. It's one of the methods we use, the PBL, like a problem or project based learning. We're playing a game while we communicate using the language. We are having a cooking class. So that's why people learn some languages so fast. If you are living, you are doing stuff, you are engaging
Yeah.
yourself in things that you love to do, the language would be just a tool to do those things,
To
you
do
know.
those
So
things. Yeah.
it really works, and this is a nice hint that you gave. If you are struggling to learn a language, like, oh, I just need to do this because of my job, a lot of our students, you are in the IT department too, so I tell my students in the very first class they have, well, our course is designed for those type of students that they don't necessarily love English, they need English. So a lot of students, they actually have an aversion of like, oh, I had English, it was boring, I didn't learn anything, I don't know if it's for me. And then I say, man, you have to learn the second language the same way you learned the first, having fun and communicating.
Yeah.
Don't worry if you commit any mistake or if you say something wrong. It's a natural process, you know.
And
And
I loved times about that, and times they didn't ask me to say that. But
Start recording. Just kidding.
but the conversation classes, like song classes, I remember I had the grammar class, like following the books, but
Mhm,
I could watch any of the other classes, right?
mhm.
And I was always there. I was always
Uh-huh.
there, and then it makes a difference because you are seeing English in a different perspective. Is it a music? Maybe it's not the kind of music I would listen in my personal life, but it's
Mm,
a vocabulary, you know, like it's
mhm.
and people are laughing or people the environment makes a difference, you know. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate this classes we had. We I don't know if we still have, but
Oh, we do definitely. Yeah, it's exactly this name. The song class, movie class, special classes. The idea is exactly this, Wallace. When you are not only having a class that the teacher speaks and the student like take notes. It's like, oh, tell me about your day. What do you like doing? Then somebody else in the class likes the same stuff and or
Yes.
never heard of it. What are you talking about? And you interact with people that I guess
Yeah.
that should be the purpose of learning a language, right? Like talk to people.
Yeah, because I think when the subject interests you, you
Hmm.
want to talk, you want to make part of the conversation, and then you force yourself, start looking for the words. I remember myself or other colleagues, like when we're talking about an artist or a movie, and then someone puts a point. No, no, I don't agree with that. Someone wanted to say, but it was missing words, and then it was so nice because I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure that that word that person learned that night, you don't forget
exactly.
because you
It
needed to
causes,
use it. Yeah, it
yeah,
causes a
it's like a small trauma, not in the sense, oh, you
yeah.
have to go to therapy, like, oh my God. No, nothing like
Great
that.
definition. Great
Yeah,
definition.
but it's like it's more trauma because the whole emotional connection with the situation, the things that you were talking to. One thing, Wallace,
Yeah.
about that. What's the first thing I noticed? The correct pronunciation is Quebec. They say Quebec,
Quebec in
Quebec.
English.
Okay,
In English,
Quebec.
like the English speakers,
And
in French, Quebec, like Portuguese.
so wait. We were talking about this. We were having this conversation about words that we say that are different from the original version. Like
Yeah.
well, which one did you say? Rebook, Apple, Facebook. And in Brazil, we have our own intonation.
Yes, people always. I mean, at work, some days ago, I had a Kit
Mhm.
Kat in Portuguese,
Yeah.
and then I was like, and then I know about the difference, like, and then and then I have another Brazilian colleague, and then I decided to make fun of it, and then I offered, Nadia, do you want a Kit Kat? Oh yes, yes, I want it, and then Jeremy, do you want a Kit Kat? Oh, Kit Kat, what is it?
Kitty catchy?
The
What is that?
chocolate. Kit
Yeah.
Kat. And then I showed him and oh, you mean Kit Kat? Oh, of course. But
Yeah.
it's funny. Even my name,
Yeah.
for example, Wallace.
Mhm.
In Brazil, people call me Wallacey because we have
Yeah.
this thing at the end, right? We need to have a vowel at the end, and then we need to
Uh-huh.
put like stress that vowel to pronounce it. And in English, they don't. It's Wallace, Wallace.
It's
In
the same with me,
French,
man. In Brazil, I am Mikey, you know.
yeah,
But when I just say my name to gringos or natives, they say, "Oh, Mike." When
Mike.
they see my name written, some of them like, "What?" My mom was very creative. They say like, "What the hell is this A doing that?" And may I? you know?
Yeah, and it's interesting because I introduced myself using the American version because it's easier and
Mhm.
I avoid questions.
Mhm.
But then
Yes.
I'm talking to someone or like they hear Wallacey and then I heard they calling you Wallacey. Is it Wallacey or Wallace? And then you can choose
Yeah.
the original version. I mean, my version is Wallacey.
Mhm.
But the funny thing is that I have the French version of my name,
What is the French version of your name? Wolof. No.
Wallace. They call
Oh, I
me, oh,
almost got it
Wallace.
right.
Yes. And usually they write it double S. Like
Wallace.
by hearing, I think for them it's so it's nice when I get to the doctor, Monsieur de Souza, Monsieur de Souza Wallace. Souza, it's
Monsieur
Souza. Souza,
Souza.
they say.
Monsieur de Souza Wallace.
Do Souza, well, because they put the last name first. I mean,
Okay.
they don't try Esperidião because it's too much, even for like it's too much, but they pick Souza because it's easier, I guess.
Man, Espiridião, the sound is a nightmare
I
for
know.
English speakers because they normally don't do the
Yeah.
they do the ow, like spiridial, something like that. Yeah.
They always stop in the middle. Like I always need to help. Esperidião,
Like,
yeah.
what the hell is that, Mark? Yeah, nice. And was it easy to? Okay, so I asked about Quebec because you said Montreal, Quebec. So when you got there for the first time, and what was the impression you had? Like, paradise, or like, oh my God, what I'm doing here? So, but how did you feel when you went the first day there?
It's a very good question because when I went to Toronto for that
Hmm.
1 month English course, it was one experience totally different from the second experience arriving in
Mm.
Montreal. Because in Toronto, I was as a tourist, like I was just traveling. I knew in 1 month I would be back. I have my job, I have my salary, my house, my family waiting for me. When I got to Montreal, it was a mix of intense feelings, intense emotions, because I was very happy I got here. So it was like, oh, I'm starting a new phase of my life, a new it's exciting, but at the same time, I felt desperate because I don't have a job. I don't have a house. I have a room I rented for 1 month. I don't have friends.
Damn.
My family is not here, so I don't have anything. I don't know anything about this place. So, and I know I'm staying here. So it was heavier because I knew, okay, if I don't make it in three, I have money for 3 or 4 months without working. So if I don't make it, if nothing happens, I'll have to go back.
Mm. Man, it's
So
like you go with the rope was on your neck already. So like, oh my God, oh my God,
yeah,
oh my God. Damn, a lot of pressure, but it is nice because I guess everything worked out fine. You were here talking
yes,
to me, so
yes,
yeah. Because this is the okay, true. One fear is the for people that goes to other countries, they have this fear of doing something wrong and getting deported because of
yes,
having any type of law problem, for example.
yeah,
The second is like, okay, what if I don't find a job? What if I don't have any connections? What if I lose? I'll become a homeless person.
yeah.
What the hell do I do with my life? And it's a very logical
Yeah,
fear to
and
have.
it's a valid fear because
Mm. But what would be the tips, man, you can give to people that they want to do a similar journey that you had to avoid having these problems? Like
I mean,
what?
planning, I think would be the first thing. So if you're coming, I mean, I was coming to Canada, Montreal, in Quebec, and I knew people here speak French. So I started studying French before. So the minimum of preparation you can have, you should have. If it's the language, if it's information about the place, getting ready because in Brazil I had a good job. I was working for a good company. I had a good position. I had like career. Uh, uh,
Planning there.
Exactly. And then I came ready, okay, maybe I'll have to work for McDonald's for a while. Maybe I'll have to be a waiter for a while. It's gonna be a very different kind of work I was doing before. Maybe
Hmm.
so this emotional preparation is very important as well. Because
Hmm.
you cannot, if you're coming to immigrate, to live in that country, it's a different experience. If you are just traveling, like vacation, it's not vacation.
Hmm.
And then, so I think this emotional preparation is important. Like learning the language is very important. Being open, like because, for example, here we have a lot of jobs, but are you up to any kind of job? Are you willing to work for McDonald's to be a waiter? At the beginning, most probably you have to, and that's
Hmm.
okay. So but
People have to let their egos go. And
yes, yes, and it's not easy. I've been there. It's not easy, but it's part of the process. And today I'm working on my domain. I work like in IT. I'm an IT business analyst for a logistics company. So I got there when I want where I wanted to be, but I've worked for a little market in Ipseri, as we say here, and restaurants for 8 months, six to 8 months. It was hard. It helped me a lot with my English and French skills.
Hmm.
But it is not easy when you come from like, okay, I had a established life in Brazil, and then it seems I'm going backwards instead of growing. No
Yeah.
offense to this kind of work, please.
No, of
What I'm
course not. So, the thing here is like different careers and different things you do in life, in different moments of life. About that, something interesting. You mentioned, okay, we don't have to dive into that, but
okay.
we talked a little bit about your job as an actor in Brazil, and you mentioned that it helped you with socializing.
Yeah.
And but you said something now. You had many other different occupations that I imagine also helped with this because you were already working with public too, like working on marketing and stuff like that.
In Brazil, you mean, right?
Yeah, no, when you moved, when you work in
Okay.
marketing, talking to
Yes.
people.
Yes, and it was we were discussing about the about arts and then acting, so it helped me to expose myself to be able
Hmm.
to talk to people. And it was key for me here because imagine French. I had months of French. I studied 8 months before coming here. And my first job, it was only French. It was only French. I was in a neighborhood. And people here are very proud of French. They want to keep it.
Hmm.
There's history before that, and they
Hmm.
fight to keep this as an identity.
Yeah.
So they chose to speak French, and I had to. So imagine that I was dealing with people in a job I've never done before in a language I was not that good at. Like I didn't have enough fluency. So for
Yeah.
sure, being on stage, like acting, helped me because so many times, those kind of improvs
Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly.
improvisation.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of techniques you can bring from that to the real life and the
I'm sorry, man. I'm laughing every time somebody says improv. I remember an episode of The Office when Michael Scott he goes to the improv, and his character is always the same, like ah. You
yeah.
never,
I
you
remember
know.
that. Who are
I
you?
imagine exact.
There is no conversation.
I imagine you at the supermarket the first day, like, well, I'll try to use my English here. And man, like you said, they're very proud of the
No,
French
yeah.
language. The England and France, they have this war, this beef for many years. And then you go like, hello, and like, and then like, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. But that's a good point because I've never tried using, like, actually people were always like, do you want to switch to English? And no, if you don't mind, I need to practice. So I think people, that was a way of connecting to people as well because they saw I was trying hard.
Man,
I
that's
was making
beautiful.
an effort, like, I'm no, we don't need to use English. If I need, I'll let you know. My boss was always like, did you understand
Mhm.
in French? Do you want me to translate it? No. Merci. C'est bon. J'ai bien compris.
But that's how you learn the language, and that's nice. And it's nice that they were empathetic enough to ask and to man. I have a question in the chat. Hello, Jackson. Hi, Marcel. Marcel, you mentioned about the weather, Wallace.
Yeah.
Was it difficult? How difficult was it to get used to the Canadian climate? First of all, how is the Canadian climate there, man?
So this is a very hard point. It's not easy at all. Um, we here in Montreal, we have one of the worst winters, and it can get to -30. It happened.
Minus 30.
Yeah, it happened once with me. Those like
Can
a
people
year
tell
ago.
the difference though? After minus 10, everything is already frozen. They're like, okay, -2, -14, but or no, I'm saying something wrong. It's really, really, really different.
Yeah, I mean, when it's up to -20, you are not able to walk more than like 20 minutes outside. Yeah, it's not the government, like you get notifications on your cell phone. Like the
So
you
it's really
shouldn't.
dangerous.
Yes, I mean, of course, there are appropriate clothes to like
Mm.
codes for that, but it's not advisable because even your nose, like your face, is very usually it's very exposed. You have those things
Mm.
you can wear, but it's not
You can
comfortable.
get, I
Yeah,
don't know, if it's possible, you can get a frostbite in your nose, or because
something
people
like that.
associate like it happening with your feet or hands, but if the air is exposed to extreme cold, I guess it's the same. I don't know.
But the good thing here, talking about adaptation, is the city is very ready for that.
Mm.
So if you go to the metro station, if you go like in your house, school, work, heating is like everywhere is warm. You just have that point A to point B outside that you're gonna face the cold. And so and also you were talking about after -10 you don't feel anymore. It's interesting because when it's like between positive and -5 or -6, like it's harder when you go over -5 to -10. That's my experience. You don't
Hmm.
have a lot of wind, so it's cold, but
Mm.
it's I don't know how to explain that, but it's not that hard. It's not that
Okay.
uncomfortable, you know?
I'll describe how I got it. It's so cold that even the wind is frozen.
When there is wind, it's terrible because even though you're wearing a coat, it goes inside the tuk. What is the word? I forgot now.
Ah, like
In
the
the
hood you
tuk.
have, or
Yeah, the hood.
the
Thank you.
mhm.
And then your hands, for example, my hands are very ugly. I don't know if you can see from there, like red.
Mhm.
So I
You
should
have
be
fighter's hands.
kind of, but it's just because like I'm not wearing gloves as much as I
Mm.
should. Sometimes I'm just walking from here to there. So let Brazilian people just let's try. I think everything is gonna be okay.
Let's try it. That's very Brazilian.
So it's
See
very
what happens.
dry.
Damn.
But at the
Uh,
beginning, it was beautiful. I mean, I felt like,
but
wow,
at the beginning,
snow. And then everybody was like, is it your first time? At the first time it
you do
snowed.
the snow angel there.
Yes. I was at work the first time I saw snow. And then my boss was like, is it your first time? Pour vrai? Like, really? And yes. And I was like, it's so cute. And then wait a little bit more. Let's talk in 6 months. Because the problem is, it's too long. It's too
Ah.
long. It like almost 6 months or more than six. Like it's winter, snow, and then we're gonna have spring. Right now it's spring,
Mhm.
but it's still cold. And then we're gonna have 4 months of sun, of summer. That's why one of the best things here is summer because everybody's crazy about it. And now I get it. At the beginning, I was like, what is it? Why so happy?
Mhm.
Why I need to stay outside until the last sunshine is there? Now I get it. Because it's only 4 months. So you have to.
Man, so it's very extreme. It's half year of snow and cold, 2 months, some like autumn and spring, they kind
Yeah.
of blend in this.
It's
And
our
then for
winter.
months.
I always say people, oh, this is the winter in like in my city in Brazil, this is winter. When it's fall, I say this is winter for me.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a different name, but the same feeling then.
But talking
Damn.
about
But
being extreme, we get it's very hot during the summer and we get sun up to 9:30 p.m.
9:30 damn. So and people want to enjoy like
And then it's amazing because you during those 4 months, you stop working at 4:35 p.m. You have still 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4 hours of sun outside. So it seems it's still day, you know?
Man,
It's
it,
amazing.
it must do something crazy with our hormones in our body because we have some receptors, I guess, in the eye for the natural sunlight that gets in. That's why people say if you want to have a good quality of sleep, we shouldn't be in front of screen and all this artificial light.
Yeah.
I imagine, like, do you sleep normally or you feel that it changes,
It
man?
changes because you don't want to sleep, right?
Yeah, you are
So
like
during the
hyped.
summer, happy hours start on Wednesday. Like people want to weekend starts on Thursday. Everybody wants to do a lot of things. So
You are saying this now. The Brazilian immigration man, the line would be like,
but
well,
for 4 months, there's a price to be paid.
oh, okay. It
If
would
you're
be
wo-
like instead of saying like sexto, Friday, they're gonna be Wednesday, huh? Uh,
And then talking about the price I have to pay during the winter, we have sun up to 4:30 p.m. So you
okay.
leave the office, it's dark already.
It's like a vampire movie that I saw. That there is this movie where it's always night. They are, I guess, in like Alaska. It's not Alaska. Some of these places that is.
Yeah, there's no sun.
Damn. All right. Okay. Well, about that, you mentioned
Mhm.
before something that you missed about Brazil. That it was about the nightlife. So for people
Yeah.
that are watching as well, how is the Canadian nightlife? What are the clubs that you have there?
So I'm talking about Montreal, okay, because
Okay.
Canada is like we have so many
Yeah, it's
different
true.
places, but we have a lot here in Montreal. People love Montreal because of it. It's not as big as other cities in Canada, but you have everything. You kind of have the small city and big city together. So if you want to go to
Mm,
parks and like those kind of things, walk, you can. You have space for that. Parks are clean and everything. If you want to go out, we have a lot of bars and beers here. Talking about night, beers are
mm,
amazing. We have so many options. It's so hard to go back to Brazil. I don't know if you like beers.
I
You like it?
love. No,
So when I go back to Brazil, it's hard to have Brahma because like those,
no, no, no. This
and
is not
then
beer. It's us.
those places in Brazil. I mean, when I was living in Brazil, it used to be very expensive. The places where you have, what is the
Like
name?
a craft beer. You mean?
Craft beer, thank you.
Yeah.
So here it's everywhere, and it's as cheap as a regular beer. So
Oh,
you
no,
can
that's a nice
taste
thing.
so many things, like so many different tastes. It's amazing. So this is one thing people do a lot, going to bars, and then drinking, like talking. And clubs, that's something I was telling you. If you want to go dance and like party, it's hard because at 3 a.m., everything is closed. The city is empty, like everything, they close, lights on. But 3 a.m., it's too early. It's
Yeah, you leave the club, you see the demons outside. Say, "Oh man, it's the hour."
no, I mean, at the beginning, I was like, what? What? I don't understand because first, metro is not opened, like it's closed, so you need to take an Uber. And then for me, it was the middle of the because in Brazil, 3 a.m. is like you are in the middle of the party, right? You're getting
Yeah,
started.
yeah.
So yeah, I miss this part.
So people don't do what's the name they use? That there is a term. I think is pub crawling when you go to like three pubs in one night. Only if they start, I don't know, 10 a.m. Stay
Yeah,
1 hour.
we actually do. We actually do. You don't have to pay to get to a bar, so you can have one beer here, and then you have one next to another. But
Mm,
as you said, we're gonna start early, like.
mm.
But yeah,
And
we do that a lot.
okay, one practical solution though is I don't know if it's possible, but you should look for a place to rent close to a walk of the nightclubs. Then it will be because do you feel safe there, man? When you go to
Oh
places, when
yeah.
you walk on how is the feeling?
I mean, to give you a very silly example, but all the time I'm doing that, I feel like, okay, now I understand why I made this decision. So I can use my cell phone on the streets, like typing very like no problems at all. My iPad. So as a student, I was using a lot my iPad, my tablet to read to. So and you see people writing down with their tablets, like it's very safe. Parks, we have many parks. Everything is clean. You can walk alone. It doesn't matter what time, like of course we have issues. Of course,
Hmm.
gonna hear oh something happened here or there, but it's a matter of like um
It's not the rule is an exception, right?
exactly. It's not that frequency. It's not like you feel safe. I feel safe. I can say I feel very safe.
Oh, that's
If
nice.
you go to a
Uh,
cafe, you leave your cell phone on the table, and then you go to the washroom, you come back, your cell phone is there, in
this
a
you can
coffee
do in
shop.
Brazil too. Just don't
Of
expect to
course.
sit back, but you can do.
That's the point.
It depends. If it's a seat that people are very polite, you will find a thank you note on the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you
See?
for your phone. Man, you mentioned about the transition. This is something I would like to ask because it's something that our students would love to know.
Mhm.
How was your job in Brazil before you moved, and what exactly do you do there today? Because you told me that I finally got to my area doing that.
So in Brazil, I used to be also a business analyst in a pharmaceutical company. So my work is basically we're working with projects
Mm-hmm.
and processes. I'm more a process guy than a project. So what we do, we're gonna map the process out. So imagine you have your invoice payment process, and then you're paying late, and then this is a problem we're going to work on to understand why you're paying late and how we can improve the process to make you to have the correct payment date, for example. So mapping processes, mapping risks in the processes. I'm in the middle of business units, business areas, and IT developers. So
Mm-hmm.
usually I'm translating their needs to developers.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, now we understood the process we have. I don't know if you ever saw the diagram with the flow chart. So this is
Mm-hmm.
my daily tool, mapping processes and talking to people, interviewing them to understand what they do. And then I will recommend solutions. So we should automate this part. We should have a form here. We should create a portal to receive those requests. um, are we going to measure the process as well to see, okay, how bad we're doing now so that we can compare and see if we're improving or not? So this measurement is also dealing with data is also something that is part of my job. So I was doing all of that in Brazil as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I came here, and then, as I said, the little market, restaurant, and then I'm in a logistics company, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm in the middle of developers and requesters, and then trying to improve processes. Right? That's
You are
the
between the we talked about before. You are between the QAs and the developers, so it's like trying to be the bridge in this student.
exactly. Exactly. So it's very interesting. And then we were talking about acting before. It helped me a lot because I need to talk to people all the time. Talking in English is something else. So at the beginning it was
Mm-hmm.
very hard because we study, we go to that's why immersive processes, I really trust in immersive processes. If you have the chance to do something like 1 month, or I don't know, just do it, watching everything in English and then trying to talk to someone in English, not only 1 or 2 hours per day or per week. It makes a difference because you get tired. I remember my first days, I would arrive at home like I just needed to sleep because it was so hard to it, it gets a lot to think and speak in English all the time, to understand
Mm-hmm.
people, to be understood, because we have an accent. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
has it's I mean, being fluent is not losing your accent, because your accent is
No,
part
no.
of your identity.
Yeah.
Identity.
One thing that happens when you become fluent, this is something I tell students, you will develop the pace and the self-awareness to know where you can speak or when you should speak a little slowly so the other person can understand you. Like you are, let's say you work for a global company. Let's say
Yeah.
there is a client that is a Korean person with an intermediate English, for example, and you notice the person is struggling a little to understand you, like a lot of what, say that again. Then you say, okay, I'm gonna try to explain in a different way, and then okay, to paraphrase and
Yeah.
being fluent is actually this. You get better in communication. You know.
Yeah, and that's something I'd like to leave to students. Like as all the time I talk to someone, some of my any of my friends, and and then they are studying English or they're struggling with English. I always share this lesson I've learned, because I've always tried to speak the perfect English. It always
Mhm.
bought it 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 always it, I've always felt like bothered by pronounce by accent, like, oh,
Mhm.
my English is bad because people can tell I'm Brazilian just when I say something, or no, I'm not pronouncing the same way as a native speaker is pronouncing. So this is not realistic. And then today I work with a lot of immigrants, because Canada is a land of immigrants. In Montreal we have a lot. I work with Arabic people, people from China, people from Mexico, Colombia, Iran. Like I'm working with the world. It's so exciting when you start to
I
think
imagine.
about that.
Yeah, it's a salad of accents there.
Exactly. And then we're working, and it doesn't matter, because what matters is what you have to say. A friend of
Hmm.
mine, she's always saying that, Wallace, my English is poor. I'm still learning, but I know what I have to say matters. I know what I have to say has a value. So I think we should focus on that, like my ideas
Yeah,
are
and
good. That's it. I just need to find a way to
yeah,
tell you that, and then you're gonna see it.
and this is the whole core of communication. Something interesting because you came from a background that is very technical and analytical, but you are a very good communicator. See, we commit mistakes all the time. That was not intentional. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like you said, when you are open to real human interaction,
Yeah.
you if you have anything artistic that you can engage yourself and practice, it will help. And at the end, if you have the correct body language, facial expression, the correct intonation, people will understand it. And especially in work environments, people want to
To
understand you because
understand.
you are
Yeah.
doing business, you are making their lives better, in solving problems. So
Yeah.
yeah, guys, if you have this type of insecurity, oh, what if my accent is too strong? Just talk to people, just
Yes.
communicate. You will see the world is open to you. You know.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. I got inspired to see. And Wallace, you first, I want to congratulate you, man. You have a very nice story because a lot of people they want to do and they want to be exactly where you are now, and they are feeling like you said you were like insecure and a little afraid. Oh, I don't know if it's gonna work there. Um, they get like, oh, it's gonna be a complete different life from the one I have here. So what can you share about going out of our comfort zone, you know because I imagine you had the weather that is different, the
The
nightlife,
languages.
the languages, exactly, plural, yeah, the food too. Now, but now you're gonna have some Nanaimo bars, so you're gonna be happy.
Yeah.
And what is the secret to kind of do well when facing a big cultural shock and differences there?
Yeah. The secret is just strong. I'm just sharing my experience, but I think having good people around you. I think at the end of the day, everything is about people. So I'm lucky to have my family. I have good friends, even from Brazil. We still talk through. It has been 3 years I'm here, and I still have friends. We talk when I'm feeling bad. They are there for me. I made a good circle of friends here as well. So you need to have people. So don't close yourself. Accept help when you need help, and to avoid suffering a lot, as I said at the beginning, a little bit of preparation, the minimum you can do is gonna make a difference. Planning, because you're gonna suffer. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's worth it, but it's not easy. But
Mhm,
you have a way to reduce the suffering, like the suffering.
mhm.
So planning and preparation, having good people around you, and I'm here, so it's possible. I didn't have my mom or dad giving me money. I come from a very simple family with not we don't have a lot of resources. I'm still helping my family back in Brazil, so um, it is possible. It is possible. So don't give up.
Nice, nice. And what are your plans for the future, man? What do you want to do next?
Yeah, that's a very profound question. Uh,
Where
I've
do you
been,
see yourself in 5 years? No, I'm joking.
yeah, I mean, my next step is getting my PR. So I'm already in process. Like it's an ongoing process. And once I
Okay.
get my PR, I'm going through my master's or MBA here. So professionally, this is my next step. So I'm very excited about that. As an international student, it's very expensive. So when I have my PR, I'm gonna pay the same price as a Canadian.
Nice.
So yeah, this is my big plan now. Like get my PR and get my masters and MBA
Nice. Do
and
you do
traveling the
you
world. Who knows now? Now I speak French, I speak English. So
Yeah,
and
the
I
word
have a
was
job.
already yeah, the word was already open. Now it's like wide open, you know.
Yes.
Nice. And Wallace, unfortunately, we are running out of time, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, you see, time flies. But
Yeah.
uh,
I was
first
scared
thing,
about this, but it was very nice.
no,
Thank
it's
you.
always it's always like that, and like we were talking, is very. I love this podcast and doing this because it's very nice to connect and to talk to people that have something to share and to inspire other people. You know, so first, congratulations, you know, for about the journey. It's very nice, man. And a final message to our audience here before we go.
Oh my gosh. I'll repeat myself. Don't give up. Work hard. It's worth it. It's worth it. Whatever is your dream, it doesn't have to be going to another country, but whatever is your dream could be speak English. So whatever it is, don't give up. Work hard. It's worth it.
Amazing. Thank you so much, man. And have a nice Nanaimo bar. Okay. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us. Okay. Don't forget, like the video, subscribe. Don't forget, every week we will have a new episode. Okay. I hope to see you on our next episode of Talking Times. Bye bye.